Okay, yeah, welcome to the Global Young Journalist Awards. If you joined us last year, welcome back. If you're new, hello. I'm so glad to have you on board. We've got a really exciting ceremony ahead. I just wanted to let you know the ceremony is being recorded. So we will share the recording afterwards, but please stay tuned in so you can ask questions to our judges in the chat and hear some great advice from our journalists. Please stay tuned in. We'll put the recording on our YouTube channel afterwards. All the winners have been contacted before because we wanted to get some of the winners to come on today. So we have actually got some of the students here to share their experiences with us and chat to the judges. And we will try and answer as many questions as we can. At the end, you'll also find out where we're going to be publishing the names of everyone that was shortlisted. It was so hard to choose just a winner and a runner-up for each category. So there were so many great entries. So we're going to be sharing the names of the shortlisted entries as well at the end. If you're not familiar with the day, we turn the news into lessons for thousands of teachers across the world in subscribing schools. We inspire teachers by bringing challenging and topical debate into the classroom and empower young people to engage with the world through student-friendly news. Any school can take out a week free trial on the day's website, www.theday.co.uk, if you want to explore what else we have to offer. I'm really pleased to say the competition has grown this year to over 550 entries from 6 out of 7 continents, from countries including Canada, Colombia, Germany, Hong Kong, India, Italy, Japan, Kazakhstan, Lebanon, Namibia, Uganda, Spain, UAE, and of course the UK. We couldn't possibly have time to name them all. But I think what this competition has shown me is that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what your past experiences, no matter what your resources are that you have to hand, you can get involved in this competition. You can share your voice. We want to provide a platform with you to share your story, and it's just so interesting to have such a range of stories from everybody. So if you haven't won this year, please do a try again next year and keep going out there, building up your experience. I want to thank our wonderful panel of judges. We've got Stephanie Hegarty, Laura Bates, Dr. Stuart Lawrence, and the day's editor, Richard Addis, who are all joining us today, along with Lucy from Voice 21, our supporter. Unfortunately, Tom Chivers couldn't be here. He judged the science, sports, and financial journalist of the year categories, but he's sadly on holiday, although he's probably having a lovely time. We'd also like to extend thanks to our supporter organisations, to Hello World, to Fair Trade, Voice 21, NACE, National Literacy Trust, the School Library Association, and Brainwaves. Thank you for your continued support for sharing this opportunity far and wide around the world. For teachers and students who can legally engage with us on social media, please follow our accounts. Shivani's just popped those in the chat just now, so you can check those out. And we'll be announcing the winners on Twitter as well. So now I'd like to introduce our deputy editor at The Day and my co-host for the event, Zoe Osterloh. Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
Hi. So you had the lovely job of reading through all of the entries, all 550, to shortlist them down to 5 in each category. What did you think of them all?
Hi everyone. Yeah, first, thanks for joining us today. Yeah, so for us of The Day, it's a waiting game until the last minute before the competition deadline to find out just how many entries there'll be. We hope for a lot, but we just don't know for certain. So to have more than 550 entries to read through was amazing, but it was a lot of entries to read through. And so picking just 5 from each category for the shortlist, it was an almost impossible task. But yeah, you can always tell when someone has put a lot of time and energy into their piece, which makes shortlisting so hard. The entries that stood out to me the most were ones with the really strong introductions. It's pieces that hook you right from the very first sentence that you remember the next day. What particularly surprised me this year was the range of stories told, from fungal infections to the Barbie movie. It made the shortlisting a genuinely interesting role, and I learned a lot too from all of the entries.
And for people that might not know, you know, what it's like behind the scenes at The Day, can you tell us a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Of course, on a day-to-day basis, I edit and prepare stories for our website, and I'm constantly thinking about what our team of writers should write about next. I spend time consuming as much news as possible as well, both on traditional news sites and social media, because that's where a lot of the big topics are being debated these days. And it's important to think about your audience too, which in our case is schools. So I spend some of my time speaking to teachers to find out what their students are interested in.
Yeah. And just a quick reminder of the prizes as well. So the winners of both the age categories will have the entries published on the day's website and receive a certificate and trophy, which have now been dispatched. So they're on their way to you. The runners-up of both age categories will have their entries published on the day's website and receive a certificate. So we didn't have time to invite all of our winners to speak today, but we will be joined by some from our 11 and over category. So over to you, Zoe, to announce the first category.
Okay, so without further ado, let's find out who's won our first award, our Political Journalist of the Year. For our Political Journalist of the Year award, we were looking for entries that did more than just describe events. We wanted some analysis on the impact of a current topic and perhaps how things could be done differently with some original reporting and opinion. Being a global award, we received some really interesting perspectives on all kinds of different local and global topics, with our winning entries sharing their thoughts on topics that personally impact them. Announcing the winners and runners-up of the Political Journalist of the Year category is Stephanie Hegarty. Stephanie is a journalist, writer and broadcaster who specialises in digital platforms, radio and TV. As the BBC's population correspondent focusing on demographic change and trends across the world, she has been shaped by the many places she's seen, having also worked for BBC in Nigeria, covering Africa's cultural and economic powerhouse. She's also won the Foreign Press Association Award for Best Print and Web News Story of the Year, as well as the One World Digital Media Award. I'm thrilled to welcome her to this year's celebration ceremony. Now, Stephanie, can you tell us a bit about how you got into journalism and any advice that you have for our budding young journalists? Over to you, Stephanie.
Sure. So how I got into journalism, by not giving up, I think, is the main bit of advice, because it's a very competitive industry and you get a lot of rejection. So I'm from Dublin in Ireland, and I wanted to work in broadcasting, but our broadcaster in Ireland is a very closed shop. It's really hard to get a job there. So I moved over to London, and I was working in a bar and doing an internship at a politics magazine here called The New Statesman. And then just sending ideas, trying to get contact of editors at different newspapers and sending them ideas, and often hearing nothing back, but eventually just kind of cracking through and doing some freelance work. And then through that, I got a job in the BBC eventually. But yeah, it wasn't a direct path, and there was lots of no's, lots of ignored emails. So don't be afraid of rejection. Ask for feedback. If someone says they don't like your idea, then you've managed to get a response from them. That's great. Just see if they'll give you feedback. If they say no, they're busy, then fine. Don't pursue it too far. You don't annoy people. But as a journalist also, for the work itself, just talk to people, because there's so many people who are afraid to pick up a phone nowadays, or afraid to talk to people on the street, because we do so much through social media, through our phones now. But really good journalists, really good reporters, get out there and talk to people. That's how you find stories, and that's how you get insight into stories. Sorry for the noise in the background. I have my deputy judge here giving.
Oh, our youngest.
We'll try and ignore him.
Can I just jump in with a question? Something we were talking about just before we came on screen was we were talking about what is the some of the mistakes that maybe people make, or some of the things that meant they didn't get put through, that you kind of found when you were reading through some of the entries.
Well, when it was clear, it was one thing we were talking about earlier, I'll get to, but no, another thing I noticed, when it was clear to me that the person hadn't gotten out and done original interviews, which just means, talking to someone who's involved in the story, then I thought, this doesn't really make the grade for me. Like, I want to see that people got out there and talked to those at the heart of the story, or, anyone with insight into it. But then one thing we were talking about earlier, I found a lot of the entries weren't too sure whether they were a piece of reporting, which is where you go out and find out what happened, or a piece of opinion journalism, where you offer your opinion on what happened. And then also when they were opinion journalism, I think you've got to choose a subject that you have insight into, right? You can't just, I don't want your opinion on the war in Ukraine. What value is that? Unless you're Ukrainian, or unless you have some sort of particular, unless you have Ukrainian refugees living in your house, you know, then maybe your opinion is important and I want to hear it. But there was someone who spoke about the change to their curriculum at school. That was really interesting because that person has really unique insight into that, you know, that I don't have, lots of other people don't have. So if it's an opinion piece, you want to know that your opinion is really insightful. If it's a piece of reporting, I don't want to hear your opinion. I want to hear what's going on, what's happened.
Do you want to announce the winners then?
Yeah, so we're ready. Okay. So the winners of the Politics Journalist of the Year, for the ages 10 and under category, the winner is Annika from Heartland International School in the UAE. And for her video exploring whether the Eurozone war will provoke World War III. And the comments from Tim Judge, one of our judges, is, "This is great. Thanks very much for putting it together and well done taking this novel approach to such an important subject." So are we going to stop with each or should we just go through?
Should we go through them all, and then we've got the winner of I think 11 and over coming on the screen. Oh no, not on this one, sorry. Yeah, you feel free to go through them.
Okay, and the runner-up in the 10 and under category was Akshani from Indus International School in India, who wrote about whether political democracy is the best administrative system or not. And Tim Judge again said, "This is a very nice piece of writing, and I'd love to hear more from Platola. However, it seems to me to be more of a political or historical essay." Oh, sorry, actually, that was me. Tim Judge said, "Great article, well done." This was, I think, the reason why I didn't, this was a runner-up for me and not the winner, was what I was talking about earlier. Whereas this wasn't telling us something new or reporting on events in the present or exposing something from the past that hadn't been reported on before, but it was really nicely written. And as I said earlier, I'd love to hear more. Sorry, I got a bit confused there. So in the ages 11 over category, the winner is Kamila Jumayeva from the Specialized IT Lyceum School. And this piece was focused on the history of Kazakhstan and spoke about how the past has led to the current situation and why politics in Kazakhstan matters to the whole world. Zoe, deputy editor, said, "This is a highly professional and polished report." I think this was a video piece. Kamila explains the history of Kazakhstan, how the past has led to the current situation and why politics matters. Her presentation is clear and memorable. And the runner-up in the ages 11 and over category was Thomas Dean in Urmston Grammar in the UK. Thomas wrote about the government in the UK's plan to extend studying maths until the age of 18, so that everyone would have to study maths. This was actually the piece I was talking about earlier when I said I thought it was really good that Thomas spoke about something that he has personal experience of, because then his opinion is, you know, it's important and it gives us a real insight into something that has been in the news here in the UK. So congratulations to the winners and runners up, and I'll see you again in a bit.
Thank you, Stephanie, and well done to all our winners of the first category. Congratulations. Now we're going on to the Mental Health Journalist of the Year. This was, I believe, our most popular category this year, which is, you know, reflective of the fact that mental health disorders are increasing fastest in adolescents and young people in the UK between the ages of 13 to 24. The category is sponsored by Brainwaves, which is a major project from the University of Oxford and us at the Day, which aims to deliver science-led research and education for better mental health in young people. You can find out more about that on our website in the footer. So to help us announce the winner and the runner-up of this category, we're welcoming on screen Dr. Stuart Lawrence, who is a consultant, a youth engagement specialist, and a public speaker who made a huge impact on in my colleague's son's school recently. And he's the author of Silence is Not an Option, Find Your Voice and Be Your Best Self. His own story, as well as that of his brother Stephen Lawrence, is one of hope, change, respect and resilience in even the toughest times. Stuart, hello. You're on mute. Can we unmute Stuart?
There we go.
There we go. Hi, Stuart. Yeah, we'd love to just hear a little bit about the message that's in your book, Silence is Not an Option, and how that message might also help our budding young journalists.
Yes, I was looking at it and I was thinking, do you know what? It's for me the part in there about imagination. It says, without dreaming, you'll never know what's possible could be inside my book. And I thought that was a really sort of great line to tell people, because this is about imagination, the way that you see things, the way that you saw the world. And that for me was what was so nice about reading all these different entries, because you know, I can see things through my lens of a 46-year-old man who lives in Southeast London in the UK. And, you know, I have a perspective of the world, but it was just great to hear and see them from their perspective.
And would you like to announce the winners of the mental health category?
I certainly would. Okay, here we go. So well done, everyone that entered, but there had to be one winner. And the winner is Shaharish Wisdom from High School International in India, who wrote about the 5 S's: screen, swing, sweets, status, and scores. The comment here says, I enjoy reading this piece and love the outlook of looking at the 5 S's and how they could be an important part of life and place the things to these young people's life. Allows me to see for a bright, brief moment, what the world seems like through the song, the person's eyes as an adult. Do we not have a lot of answers for ensuring that young person's childhood is full of imagination, curiosity, learning and development? And it is so perceived ideas that we have around things that are important versus things that are not important. And we always need to take that into account. And a comment from Holly Bear was, what an impressive and truly thought-provoking piece of writing. This is beautifully written exploration of experiences and challenges of childhood today, and profound call to action for what childhood should and can be. Well done and congratulations on your work. The runner-up was Rachel Bradbury, Rachel from Bradbury School from Hong Kong. It says here about her piece the piece was written with good factual information. It is about the issues and problems around social media and how it's affecting young people. I like to have more encouraging tone to alternative ideas. One thought is around how to deal with this, and it may be if the writer had thought about how not to be so forthright in her suggestions. I would like to have a better way of approaching the subject, to email Linda's in a little better, with a feeling like a set or a list of things you have to do. And we have the winner for the age 11 over category. This person's name was Sharina Navita from Tonebridge Grammar School in the UK. This piece was written about the youth response to mental health crisis. And it's written here, as it says, it was an excellent piece, a good perspective from such a young person to understand the perils of mental health, especially in a young person. By using her own experiences of dealing with depression, she's now going forward ensuring that all young people have the tools and access to information that they need to be mentally prepared for any issues or problems that arise in their life, which I think is great. That's what we need more of. And the runner-up for this was Aaron Thurrock from Hampton School, also in the UK. He wrote about particular gender roles and why mental health in men is such an important topic. Certainly is, because men don't talk enough and we need to talk more. It's an excellent piece, good perspective from such a young person to understand the perils of mental health, especially in young people and especially in men. Ben, that was written by me. I can remember writing that. We're now going to welcome the winner of the under 11 and over category, Sharina. I hope I said your name right as well, to say a few words about what inspired her to enter, and hopefully she will be on the screen now. She's there. Hello. You have to unmute.
Sorry. Yeah, hi, yes, it's Shreya.
How do you pronounce it? Sorry?
Shreya.
Soraya, nice to meet you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It was such a lively piece to read. It really, really was. So come on, tell us a bit more about yourself.
Okay, so optimism and hope. These were two things that I aimed to thread through my article despite its natural gravity. The youth mental health crisis has always piqued my interest. It's exactly that, a crisis, yet not enough seems to be happening. That is why my article's subject matter is so dear to me. After launching our first campaign, it was as if a tree had grown from the pain that we had, as if a tree we had grown from our pain had begun to flower. Launching our campaign was more than what was visible on the outside. There were laughs, many Jaffa cakes as mentioned, and so many friendships made. Seeing my peers stand up and share their experiences and work to achieve better youth mental health has been so inspiring. And I hope by sharing a glimpse of my journey and work as a youth MP, somebody somewhere is able to join the fight. As I say in my article, if I can, then you can too. I've always adored politics and social justice, and it's never been more crucial for young people to get involved. My article is more than just a story about me or the work my youth council has been doing. It's more of a call to arms, a piece I wrote so that everyone who is in my position can recognise all the power is in their hands to solve this crisis. I couldn't be prouder of the campaign group, and I can't wait to see where the rest of my term takes me. And lastly, I could not accept this award without acknowledging two of my biggest inspirations, my grandfathers. So my maternal grandpa is a journalist and has always inspired me. It's actually his birthday today. And we very sadly lost my paternal grandpa in January, but he was always my biggest cheerleader, and I know he would have loved to be here. So yeah, thank you to all the judges, all the organisers. This truly means the whole world to me.
Wow,
Thank you.
amazing. Sorry.
No, I just say thank you, Shreya. It was really great to hear from you, and thank you to Stuart as well for announcing this category and telling us all about your message. Okay, now we turn our focus to the gender category. In this category, we wanted to highlight the need for fair and accurate coverage of gender-related issues. By recognising outstanding journalism in this category, we hope to inspire more young people to talk about these important topics with sensitivity and depth, both inside and outside of the classroom. We're honoured to have Laura Bates with us today to announce the winners of this category. Laura Bates is a feminist activist and writer and the founder of the Everyday Sexism Project. Laura writes regularly for The Guardian, Telegraph, New York Times, Glamour and others, and won a British Press Award in 2015. She's a best-selling author of many books, including Everyday Sexism, Men Who Hate Women, and Fix the System, Not the Women, and has made political progress. Laura, hi.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Can you tell us a bit about your background and how you feel a young journalist tackled the subject of gender through their work?
Well, obviously, it's a subject that's very close to my heart because my background is as a feminist activist, and I see my journalism very much as an extension of that activism and advocacy. So it was absolutely wonderful to see so many powerful, passionate pieces from young people that I really felt could change people's minds and change the world, which is exactly what we need. So a huge congratulations to everyone that entered. I know that we're celebrating the winners and runners up tonight, but really all the entries were wonderful. So if you didn't win, please keep going because you've got great talent and a great career ahead of you all.
Thank you. Would you now like to announce the winners and runners up of the gender category?
I would. It would be a pleasure. So I'm very excited to announce that the winner of the Gender Journalist of the Year category, ages 10 and under, is Grace from St Hugh's in the UK, who created a really compelling video on why feminism is still important today. I loved the use of humour, the direct address, and a really challenging question to the viewer at the end to grab their attention. She had great use of statistics, but also personal stories to both illustrate the wider problem and bring it to life with examples. The ages 10 and under runner-up was Nisha, also from St Hugh's in the UK, who wrote about equality in football and the importance of women's football. It was a great entry. I loved this, very striking entry with an excellent use of statistics to back up the argument. And I loved the rhetorical questions, which really drew the reader in and made them think. Well done to both of you. In the ages 11 to 18 category, the winner was Sandra Shaker from Beirut Evangelical School for Girls and Boys, Lebanon, for an article on cases of sexual misconduct towards female patients within the healthcare profession, which I was absolutely blown away by. It was an incredibly powerful piece. It shone a light on a little known and taboo subject, which is a hallmark of really excellent journalism. It used real examples, quotes, and statistics to powerful effect and made a clear and persuasive argument to make readers feel really invested and moved. In the ages 11 to 18 category, the runner-up was Javier Singh from St. Jude's Academy in Canada for an article on laws across the globe that seek to ban the LGBTQIA+ population. This was a really strong piece. It made a passionate and clear argument about the rights of LGBTQIA+ people and raised awareness of increasing discrimination against them. Huge congratulations to all of our winners and those who entered. So many important issues were explored, and it was inspiring to see young writers tackle these subjects with maturity, understanding, and clear insight. And we are now welcoming on screen the winner of the 11 and over category, Sandra Shaker, to say a few words about her entry.
I'm hoping she's going to join us. Apparently she's having trouble with her Wi-Fi. So I can't see her. Yeah, I think she's having some technical issues. Yeah, unfortunately she isn't going to be joining us right now. But congratulations, Sandra, well done.
Well done.
Maybe we can get you back on later if you fix it. Thank you so much, Laura. We'll have you back on screen a bit later on. We do have a question for you, actually, Laura, if you could pop back. We've had a question. What difference do you think journalism can make to gender equality?
That's a great question. Well, I believe really passionately that it can make a difference. I think that gender equality, like many other issues in terms of different forms of oppression and prejudice, becomes quite normalized. So we don't necessarily even notice or recognize it. It means that people can do it without realizing that they're doing it. They can discriminate and be sexist. And it also means that those who experience it might not realize that it's not okay, that it's not normal, that they're not alone, that it wasn't their fault. And what we can see really clearly is that so often when big stories break about these issues, it gives people the strength to come forward. It lets them know that they're not alone. It forces political pressure on politicians to take action and to change things. If you look, for example, at the Me Too movement and the powerful impact that's had around the world, it was really kicked off by the brilliant reporting of two New York Times reporters breaking very bravely the courageous stories of women who'd experienced abuse at the hands of Harvey Weinstein, and just look at the kind of ripple effect that had. So it's a great example of how it really can make a difference. Very good reporting.
Thank you, Laura. That's a really good answer. And it's true, a lot of the time being a journalist is about being brave and standing up and speaking out when others aren't. So that's, you know, just another really good quality for journalists to have. Thank you. So now we're going on to the Technology Journalist of the Year, again, another very popular category. So we're going to go back to Stephanie Hegarty to announce the winners of this category.
Hi. So in the ages 10 and under category, the winner is Samira from, I hope I'm saying your name right, Samira, from Wisdom High International School in India. And this was a piece, an audio piece and soundbite about the use of technology in education. Tim Judge said it's a very good submission, and he really liked that it was via audio, which made it really engaging. The subject matter is interesting and it was presented really well. So well done, Samira. Tom Chiver said very nicely presented audio and an important topic. And the runner-up in this category was Abigail from Teesdale High School in the UK, who wrote about AI and gave an example of AI that can assist with homework. This was a really good article, an important subject, and it was obviously researched really well. Abigail put a lot of work into it. Tom Chivers said, this is without exaggeration every bit as good as most mainstream newspaper articles about the costs and benefits of AI. That is high praise. And he learned something about Funda, which I presume is the which is the piece of, if we remember correctly, which is the AI that Abigail wrote about. Ages 11 and over, the winner was William Martin from the Priory Academy in the UK. He wrote about VR and how it can be used to treat gambling addiction. Actually, this piece really stuck with me. I remember it really well. It was a great story, really interesting. I was really interested to learn about it. Was one of the pieces where I really learned something new I'd never heard about before. And And I would have loved to hear more, to hear from maybe a gambling addict about how this may or may not have helped them, and to hear William interview someone involved in this research. So love if William took this even further and did more work on it. It was a great story. The runner-up in this category was Harry Tongue from St. George's British International School in Rome, in Italy, who explored AI again and how we need to adapt AI and how it will impact, how we need to adapt to it and how it will impact future careers. It's a really important subject, and the piece was really good and interesting, kept my attention and taught me something. That was Tim Judge. I thought it was really topical. Of course, this is something everybody is talking about. And Harry came to it with the experience of someone who codes and someone who's an optimist about technology himself. And there were some really nice researched and sourced facts in there. So congratulations to everyone. There were some really, really interesting entries in this category. And like I said, some of them that really stuck with me and made me think about the impact of technology, which is can impact all our futures, but even more yours, because you're all so much younger than us. So we are welcoming on screen William Martin, winner of the over 11 category, to say a few words about his work. William, are you with us? Ah, there you are. Hello.
Hello.
So can you tell us why did you choose this category? And yeah, tell us a bit more about your approach to your entry.
Well, I chose this category because my mum is a psychologist in addictions, and we talk about it quite a lot. And I also find it quite interesting how we are only one of the only countries in the world that let children gamble. Even though in the UK the legal age requirements for gambling is 18, there are no age restrictions on playing low stakes slot machines in family entertainment centres and amusement arcades. Also, given how much gambling is advertised around us, for example, on football shirts and on TV, there is a huge worry that children are going to grow up and become addicted to gambling. In fact, some kids gamble already and addicted to gaming and loot boxes. I was lucky enough to play on a virtual reality headset, and I like gaming, and it got me thinking, can we combine the two? So I started doing my own research and found out how virtual reality can help with gambling addictions. I'd just like to say I'm over the moon with winning this competition, so thank you.
Brilliant, congratulations.
Congratulations, William. Your piece, I learned a lot from it as well. Okay, next we have the winners of the anti-racism category. This category encouraged entrants to explore issues related to racism, discrimination, and inequality. By recognizing and highlighting these stories' efforts, we encourage more young journalists to focus on these important topics and spark vital conversations by amplifying the voices of those who seek to make a difference. To announce the winner of this category, would once again like to welcome Dr. Stuart Lawrence. Over to you, Stuart.
Thank you very much. Okay, sorry, let me get the other screen up with the piece of paper on that has the winners. Okay, cool. So, age 10 and under category winner is Charis from St Mary's School in Cambridge. Wrote about the diversity within the UK and the worrying increase in hate crimes. I said, I know this is not the first case or the last case of a person from an Asian background is wrongly targeted especially after COVID, and how the narrative from the media was that COVID came from China and that China was a Chinese made-up disease, and how Chinese people were to blame for this disease. So I can only imagine what it's like to walk around this country with people who are then been accusing you for the reason why the world is the way it must have been. It must have been terrifying and challenging to comprehend. The age 11 and over winner is Jenny from Al-Shabab Heartland International School, and she wrote about how the novel Noughts and Crosses and how it highlights the important movements of such as the Black Lives Matters. Great use of the books Noughts and Crosses to talk about a topic and poignant message around race and culture, and how ensuring that we all have enough empathy in our hearts to see things from other people's perspectives and not just only our own. I'm hopeful that it allows readers to explore the ideas of if only if the roles were reversed around the number of minority people or majority people in the country and how that makes other people feel or other group of people feel. The age 11 and 18 upwards runners up was Nicholas, I cannot pronounce your surname, I do apologise, from the Cardinal Newman Catholic School in the UK. They wrote about the need to assess how much we are doing to combat racism and the importance of always campaigning for equality. I put here, I was surprised about the title of how this was concluded, that more of the writer about where he feels that we could do better. And it's worth it was worth my wanting to know, to understand more. The comment from the Day's deputy editor, Zoe, says, the writer has taken an issue in the news right now and used it to explore how history has shaped the present. They have asked some big questions, and as a good journalism does, a strong analysis. Congratulations to all the winners. We found each category very inspiring, and we're honoured to read your words. We are now welcoming onto the screen Jenny from the Al Shabab School to say a few words about entering. If my magic.
I just wanted to clarify, I think that's your name, isn't it? Is it Jenin Al Shalabi is your name?
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I do apologise.
No worries. I'm Janina Shalabi. I'm from Heartland International School, and I'm really, really happy to be here with all of you. And for me, the pursuit of my journalistic interest was a means of exploring the values, beliefs, and ideas that I'd always accepted as a natural part of the world around me. Writing was a way for me to dissect what I'd never questioned before, what I'd taken for granted, and most importantly, what society had urged me never to question. I entered into the anti-racism category with a piece about Mallory Blackman's Noughts and Crosses, an evocative novel in which a world of prejudice and hatred is flipped on its head by posing the essential question, what if the roles were reversed? Blackman examines the world in which white people are the minority, delivering a perfect, punch-packed response to the statement, all lives matter. I wrote about why the novel was a quintessential must-read in an age where the realities faced by marginalized communities are dismissed in favor of a falsified call for equality via all lives matter. Blackman's writing is incredibly sobering. Like all good writers, Blackman was inspired by a sense of burning anger, ignited after the murder of teenager and aspiring architect Stephen Lawrence and the subsequent mishandling of his case. This constructive channeling of anger underpins the entire novel and is what drew me to write about it. I knew it would make people uncomfortable, says Blackman about the novel. That, in my eyes, is the purpose of good writing, to disturb those who have been too comfortable for too long. As journalists, writers, students, and citizens, we must mobilize every tool at our disposal and commit ourselves fully to change. And most importantly, we must remain angry. Angry for aspiring architect Stephen Lawrence and the thousands like him whose ambitions remain unfulfilled. Anger is the catalyst. Let us all channel our anger constructively as Mallory Blackman has done. Thank you.
Jenna, well done. You're an inspiration to everybody. That was fantastic. Well done. So great. Some brilliant comments. Congratulating you as well. Thank you. So now an area of life that we are constantly reporting on at the day is science. And it will continue to influence our lives in unimaginable ways. Laura Bates is going to be coming back on screen now to announce this category on behalf of Tom Chivers. Over to you, Laura.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again to everybody who entered. In the ages 10 and under category, the winner is Kenza from the UK, who wrote about a hole on the surface of the sun and how scientists have reacted. And Tom said that it was a fascinating piece, fascinating topic. In the ages 11 and over category, the winner is Aria Jane from St. Jude's Academy in Canada, who wrote about how we view and manage fungal infections in a post-COVID world. Tom said, I had no idea about this story. Very interesting. I slightly wish the author had let me know the guy turned out to be okay, but he was. I Googled it, but it's very clearly written. In the ages 11 and over category, the runner-up was Ayhan Naiman from Al Ain English Speaking School, UAE, who spoke about the idea of a moon base and the future of lunar colonization. And Tom's feedback was clearly written, well-structured, makes its case well, and very timely given the ever-increasing interest in cheap spaceflight and NASA's impending Artemis missions. And we are now welcoming on screen the winner of the 11 and over category, Aria, to say a few words about entering.
She's also having trouble with her Wi-Fi, unfortunately. Oh, sorry to hear that, Aria. That's a shame. If you can message Tara, and if we can get you back on screen at some point, we'll keep an eye out on our messages. Okay. We will have to move on then, Zoe.
Okay, thank you, Laura, and well done to everyone in that category. Okay, next we move on to one of our most popular categories, sports. The sports category of the Global Young Journalist Awards offers young writers a platform to showcase their enthusiasm and creativity in covering the fascinating world of sports. Announcing the winners of this category on behalf of Tom Chivers will be Dr. Stuart Lawrence again.
Oh, I've just had a message to say Aria should be here now. Are you there, Aria?
I'll wait. I'll wait.
Should we just hang on, see if she's there? Are you there, Aria?
Sorry.
Hello. Hi, Aria. Thank you. So glad you managed to sort it out. Did you want to tell us a little bit about your entry? And first of all, congratulations.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to address you today as a recipient of the Science Journalist of the Year Award. Tonight, I want to share the inspiration behind my focus on science and discuss the winning entry that brought me here. Science has always been a captivating field for me, a realm where curiosity and exploration intertwine, revealing the mysteries of our world. The constant pursuit of knowledge and the desire to make a difference have been the main driving forces behind my passion for science journalism. Hence, next year for university, I'm going to be doing life science. Now to my article, for those unfamiliar, The Last of Us is a popular video game set in a post-apocalyptic world devastated by a fungal outbreak. Little did we know that fiction could sometimes mirror reality so closely. In Kolkata, a 61-year-old man has become the first known case of infection by the deadly fungus Chondrosteurium purpureum. This fungus, typically found in plants, has never been seen before in humans. Its presence in the afflicted patient mirrors the chilling premise of The Last of Us, where a fungal infestation leads to the collapse of society. It serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers posed by fungal infections, especially in a world marked by global travel and climate change. The story of the Kolkata patient serves as a wake-up call, urging both the medical community and the general public to remain vigilant. It highlights the importance of ongoing research, surveillance, and preparedness to combat emerging infectious diseases. We must be proactive in our efforts to understand and mitigate the risks that fungi and other pathogens pose to our lives. In conclusion, let us celebrate the power of science journalism to shed light on extraordinary and unexpected events. Through our words, we have the ability to inform, inspire, and instigate change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well done. Yeah, a really eye-opening topic that you would never consider. So well done for finding a really unique angle and shedding some light on it. And yeah, really well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Glad you managed to get back on. Great. Shall we go back to Stuart and the sports category, if you're there, Stuart?
Still here. I'll do my best Tom impression, guys. I will. 1 second. So here we go. So announcement of the winners for Sports Journalist of the Year category. So the ages 10 and under category winner is Beatrix from Hong Kong. She designed a visually eye-catching image about Hong Kong Sevens in 2023, which was held at the HK Stadium from the 31st of March to the 2nd of April. Tom said, "This was lots of fun." Laura said, "A creative and eye-catching visual celebration of a historic sporting achievement for the Kiwis." So well done for you. The second person is the runner-up. Sorry, this is a runner-up for the same category, age 10 and under, was Salvatore from Kalogi Barich School in Colombia, who created an engaging and informative video about F1. Tom said, "What an excellent use of props to tell a story." And Laura said, "A glimpse of a future F1 commentator in action." So well done, you young man. And the age 11 category, about age of 11 and above category winner was Ines Borroca Helena from Stuttgart International School in Spain, who wrote a story about the World Cup in Qatar in 2022. Tom said this was a refreshing. So Tom said this was refreshing. I have admitted my heart sank a little when I started reading, thinking it would be a piece about the dreadful Qatar human rights record, but it wasn't. It's not that. It's not that. It was important, but I've read it a few times. But the author used that as a jumping off point to make more interesting case that the negativity action that the World Cup brought to Qatar had driven positive change. It's an angle I hadn't seen before and well argued. Laura said this young journalist makes a strong case for more nuanced perspective on this high-profile recent event, while acknowledging that the validity of commentary stance. She moves beyond this to shine a light on early indicators of positive change, calling for a focus on the future. So well done for doing that. For the category of 11 years and 18 upwards, runner-up was Himasha from India, who wrote about a recent event in the sporting world when Crystal Palace parted ways with Patrick Vieira. Tom said, very professionally done. It sounded like a very sports news roundup on Radio 5 Live or something. If we were judging things on how current they are, it's a little behind the times. Roy Hodgson returns to Palace some time ago and has made a remarkable impact. But in terms of an analyst and roundup of a story, as it was in late March, this is great. Laura said, confidently presented and well-scripted report. We're now welcoming on the screen Ines Borroca Helene. I do hope I've actually butchered your name. I do apologise. To come and speak and tell us about what she wrote about.
Hi, nice to meet you. It's Ines Bocanegra. Don't worry about it.
No, please. Ines, I do apologise. It's such a beautiful name. Please tell us about your piece.
Thank you. So I'm from Spain, and I was absolutely thrilled to come first place in the sports journalist category of the year. I wrote my article about the World Cup in Qatar, which, as many of you know, was a highly controversial event due to the growing concern on the rights of Qatari minorities and labourers. So I spoke about the global indignation this event had catalysed, without which most people wouldn't have even been aware of the severity of the conditions in Qatar and how positive it was to actually be brought attention to. So instead of addressing the negativity of the issue, I chose to add my own twist and talk about all the ways in which it was beneficial to our society. For centuries, disquieting circumstances such as those in Qatar have been the reason we've sought for global change. I think it's essential to disregard the basic premise of societal norms and to find your own way of seeing things, to look beyond what everybody else may be writing about and find a new perspective, but most importantly, find and channel your own voice. I was absolutely passionate about the topic I was talking about, and I think passion is very easily detected and heard through writing. And lastly, I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate and express my views on what is essentially a global spectrum. And a big thank you to my teacher, Miss Mass, who's on this call, for encouraging me to participate and always believing in me.
Well done, Miss Mass, as well.
Well done, congratulations. Well done, thank you. Stuart, while we've got you on a call, Stuart, we have a question for you. If you're there. The question is, why is journalism so important in the fight against racism?
It's a little bit, I think, a bit like what Laura said, I think, earlier, which is, we need allowed these unheard stories and voices from different people's perspectives and viewpoints to be heard on a mass scale, on a mass platform. And again, that gives us an insight into what it could be like to have that perspective. I like Jenny's sort of perspective about Marion Blackman's, to twist things around, to turn it on its head sometimes. That's the best way to allow sometimes people to understand what you go through. One of the things I like to do in one of my workshops is ask people to talk about a negative experience to someone else, and then ask that person that you're told that to present to the rest of the group. And because you're trying to talk about someone else's pain and experience, you want to do that person so much justice that you listen very carefully, you pick up all the undertones, the nuances of how they're speaking, they're emphasizing certain points. And then when your time comes up to shine, you're really going to give it 110%. So yeah, I just think it's important that, and again, we just need to be allowed to, for everyone to be able to have their voice heard. And that's what social media has really allowed people to do now on such a great level.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the climate category. We had, again, one of our most popular, had some really creative entries for this one, really hard to choose the winner. Now we're going to hand over to Lucy Worstonholme, who's from our brilliant supporter Voice 21, which is the UK's Oracy education charity. Lucy, what advice have you got for our young journalists?
Thanks,
Hello.
Rachel. Hi there, thanks, Rachel, and hello, everybody. I think what has really shone through in the pieces I've read and from the young people that we've heard from is the importance of writing about something for which you have a passion. If you're writing about something you love or feel strongly about, that shines through in your words and makes for a memorable and impactful piece of journalism. Now, here are the winners and runners-up for the Climate Journalist of the Year category, and I'm going to read feedback from journalist Stephanie Hegarty, who we've heard from today already. The winner of the age 10 and under category is Naomi Hanbury from the UK, who wrote about the impact of air quality when car usage is restricted. Stephanie said, "I love how Naomi did her own research for this piece, talking to a working person about the effect road closures have had on him. I've noticed this is something that many older competitors haven't done. Lots of journalists starting out can struggle with getting out there and talking to people. Naomi is a natural." The runner-up for the age 10 and under category is Gauri Nair from the UAE, who created a video report about cloud seeding in the United Arab Emirates. Stephanie said, "I am blown away by this. Gary's presentation is faultless and her report is a joy to watch. I love the tour around the UAE in the opening sequence, which must have taken a long time. It has great pace, great access to the Meteorology Centre, excellent hand-drawn graphics, and Gary explains a complicated scientific process in a way that is simple and easy to understand, which even many BBC journalists fail to do. Really excellent work, and Stephanie looks forward to watching your career blossom in the future." Moving on, the winner of the age 11 and over category is Rahul Krishnan from the UK, who created a video exploring the real impact of climate change on the developing country of Barbados. About Rahul's work, Stephanie said it was excellent. "This is a real piece of journalism that would be at home on the BBC. Rahul is a natural in front of the camera. He's engaging and warm." Stephanie was really fascinated and sad to learn about Barbados's sargassum problem, and the issues were excellently fleshed out here by Rahul, as is the link to climate change. Experienced journalists often struggle with this, but Rahul made it clear. Stephanie does say, however, that the call to action doesn't belong in a piece of journalism like this. And this is what we were speaking about at the beginning of the call, that that as journalists, we need to try and maintain a level of impartiality on the problems that we report on. We're not activists. It's our job instead just to inform the audience and to let them decide for themselves if they should act upon the information we've given them. The runner-up for this category, age 11 and over, is Azreen Kareem from the UK, who created artwork to illustrate a representation of the Willow Project, an oil drilling project which has been recently approved by the President of America, Joe Biden. Stephanie said, "This piece is clearly telling a story. It's visually interesting and fun. Azreen is clearly a talented illustrator. The caricature of Biden is brilliantly executed." Stephanie also learned something new, that it's not a story that she knew anything about. It left Stephanie keen to learn more. Finally, I'd like to say congratulations once more to each of these talented journalists. It was a pleasure to hear, see, and read your journalism on such important topics.
Okay. Thank you, Lucy, for reading that category. Next up is the media category, and we're now going to welcome the day's editor and founder, Richard Addis, to share our winners.
Hello.
Hi.
Richard.
Zoe, do you want to introduce the category?
Yep, it's the media category, and we have a quick question for you first, which are the key ingredients of a great piece of journalism.
The most, I'll just do one key ingredient, is to make it human. You know, journalism has to be human. It has to involve talking to real people like us, and it has to be relevant to people like us. And I would say if you do that, then you have really mastered at least half of what it takes to write a good piece. So I'm going to announce the winners and runners-up of the Media Journalist of the Year 2023. The age 11 and over category winner is Ruby McCallion from St Dominic's Sixth Form College in Britain. And the judges said that Ruby's awareness and praise of choice feminism is presented in a very mature, articulate, enjoyable way in this fantastic piece of journalism. And despite your views on the upcoming Barbie film before reading, Ruby's argument for it being an empowering piece of feminist cinema is strong and clear and a great advert for the film itself. Well done, Ruby. Amazing. The runner-up is Helen Nerau Hangula from Namibia, who created a video about the Willow Project, which is an oil drilling project which has been approved by Joe Biden. And the judges said Helen's approach to journalism is unique and exciting, using statistics as well as social evidence and videos from TikTok and an interview with Nessa. It shows extensive research on the subject and a passion for activism against climate change is evident throughout all her journalism. And we're going to now welcome on screen the winner of the 11 and over category, Ruby, to speak a little bit about what inspired her to enter. If you're there, Ruby, are you there?
Hi, yeah.
Yes, hi, Ruby. Well, I mean, just to say, what an amazing piece of work. Well done.
Thank you. So two things that I've been passionate about for a very long time are film and feminism. And I think that representation for women on and off screen is incredibly important. I've noticed that films directed by and marketed towards women are often unfairly viewed as less intelligent than other films. So I went into this process wanting to write an article that proved that these films are just as worthy of complex criticism as any other film. With the new Barbie film coming out next month and leaning heavily into very pink and feminine marketing, I thought it would be an interesting angle to analyse what the positive reception to this film says about how attitudes towards female-led films are changing, specifically in relation to choice feminism. Throughout the process, I actually had some doubts about how serious an article on a Barbie film could be. So to have my article win the media prize has really proven to me that a piece of media leaning into perspectives is just as deserving of complex analysis as any other piece of media, and give me the confidence to share my opinions on topics that a lot of people would typically deem silly for being too feminine. I hope that by talking about films made by female creators, in the same way that we talk about films made by their male counterparts, more young women will be encouraged to get involved in film and the arts in general.
Congratulations, amazing, amazing. Brilliant.
Congratulations, well done. Richard, we're just going to go over to Laura Bates next to do the equality category. We just need to flip something around. Okay. So Laura, over to you.
Hello again, and a huge congratulations. This was another very strong category. In the ages 11 and over category, the winner is Isabella from Excel Academy in the UK, who spoke about her personal experience of accessibility and the need for using equality as an opportunity to spread positivity. Isabella's sharing of her own personal story was really touching and effective. It was clear that she had a wonderful sisterly bond with her sister Penny, but she also used that story as a really powerful piece of advocacy. The ages 11 and over category runner-up was Martha from the UK, whose piece was interesting and shocking and used a blend of evidence, empirical data, and also other sources, which was really brilliant. And we're now welcoming on screen the winner of the 11 and over category, Isabella, to talk about her entry.
Hi.
Hi, Isabella.
Hi there.
What inspired me to enter this journalist competition was my sister Penny. My sister has Angelman syndrome, and sometimes I feel that she is treated unfairly and not the same way as other children. I wrote this article to spread awareness and hopefully make a difference to how they are treated. differently in society. I am so happy that I won this award. It means the world to me as a differently abled person myself. Achieving this award has given me a confidence boost and have big hopes for the future.
Thank you, Isabella. Congratulations. It was a stunning piece.
Well done, Isabella. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Laura. I know you have to go now, but thank you so much for joining us. If anyone's got any more questions for Laura Bates, maybe you could email them to us and we'll get them answered.
Laura.
So back to you, Richard, I believe, for the next category.
The next category is Finance Journalist of the Year. So the age 10 and under category winner is Stephen from Hong Kong, wrote about Silicon Valley Bank. And the judges said a really good submission, amazingly good use of research and quotes. Well done, Stephen. The runner-up of that category was Anika from the UAE, United Arab Emirates, wrote a piece about how the internet outpaced banking. And the judges said, really interesting submission. I really like the subject matter and the research that went into it and the way you presented it. For age 11 and over, the winner was Sena Chang from the American School in Japan, who did a visual explanation for the need for financial literacy. And the judge said, we really love the infographic. I thought that was really, really interesting. It would have been good to see more analysis of the data in the article, but overall an amazing infographic and well done. And the runner-up was Aisha Ali from St. Anne's Catholic School for Girls in the UK, who wrote about bounce back loans. And the judge's comment was really good article about something that we hadn't heard about, well written and researched. We really want to know what happens next. And we're now welcoming the winner of the 11 and over category, Sena Chang, to say her own few words. If you're there, Sena.
Hi, I'm Sena, and I'm really
Hello.
happy in the company of such talented people. When I set out to on this journey to create my infographic, I was really driven by a passion for shedding light on an issue that really affects us all, which was financial literacy. The aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic and the current inflationary spiral have only heightened the urgency of this matter. And it's also become very evident that there exists a really disheartening lack of attention given to financial literacy in schools, whether it be due to funding constraints, governance challenges, or logistical issues. This vital subject often falls by the wayside. While my school boasts classes on macroeconomics and sustainable development, little focus is given to personal finance, both in my community and educational settings abroad. So I saw this as an opportunity to make a difference and raise awareness, because too often important statistics are presented in inaccessible and obscure ways, which hinder our understanding of crucial issues. By presenting information in an engaging manner, I wanted to foster a greater understanding of financial literacy. And lastly, thank you so much. And thank you especially to the Day for having me and for championing student journalism.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Sena.
Thank you, Sena. Okay, I think our final category now, which is health, and I'll be announcing this one. So the under ages 10 and under category winner was Valerie from Hong Kong. Valerie wrote about lung cancer and the impact that smoking has. And our judge, Laura Bates, said, this is a great piece that combines clear, well-communicated information with a powerful public health message. Our runner-up in the age 10 and under category is Hayley from Hong Kong. And Laura Bates said, this is a fantastic entry with really sophisticated structure and a powerful and cohesive argument. So congratulations to our under 10 winner and runner-up. And in the age 11 and over category, the winner was Parvati Nair from Harland International School in the UAE. And she wrote a considered and articulate piece about euthanasia. And so Laura Bates said, this is a great entry and very moving. The personal story is beautifully written and really draws the reader in, then is followed up by statistics to widen the article out into a broader societal problem. Okay, and our ages 11 and over category runner-up was Leora from the Berlin Brandenburg International School in Germany. And Laura Bates said, I thought this was really powerfully written. The present tense does a great job of pulling the reader into the story. The use of a specific personal narrative to bring a human touch to a much wider news story was really good. And congratulations to all of our winners, runners-up and shortlisted entries in this category. And back to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Zoe. That's all of our awards. We've had a few kind of questions, people wanting to clarify names, etc. We will be publishing the entries on the website in a moment, I believe. But yeah, huge thank you to everyone who's joined us, all of our winners, runners-up, shortlisted entries, our judges, Laura Bates, Stephanie Hegarty, Stuart and Tom Chivers, thank you so much. All our supporters, Hello World, Fair Trade, Voice 21, NACE, National Literacy Trust, School Library Association and Brainwaves, and all of my colleagues here who helped make it possible. Zoe, you've worked so hard on this, thank you so much. And to Tara and Shivani behind the scenes today and the whole team at the day. So the winning entries, they will be found published on the day's website. We're going to put the web link in the chat, but it will be the day. Zoe, are you doing it now?
Any moment now.
Any moment now. We'll come back to it in a moment then. It will also be shared on our social media accounts and via a follow-up email. We'd love to know what you think about the competition, about the event, how we could change it for next year, how we can make it better. You know, it's only our second year. So there will be a short survey that you can fill in after the event that will be sent out via Zoom. There'll be a link in the follow-up email tomorrow. So we'd love to know your thoughts about the Global Young Journalist Awards. And if you do complete the survey, you'll be entered into a prize draw where you can win a 3 months free subscription to the day for your school. You can also send any comments that you've got to gyja@theday.co.uk. And if you have one, once you've got your trophy and your certificate, please send us a photo. We'd love to have a photo of you with your prize. We've used them a lot from last year, so yeah, we'd love to see you once you've got your prizes. And do join us again next year. If you missed out this time, you can register on our website and be kept up to date with our monthly newsletter and all kind of any other awards news. Have they been published? Yep. Okay, they're all published now online. So it's theday.co.uk/special-reports/GYJA-2023-winners, which is now in the chat as well. So you can visit that link now. All the winning entries will be up there to see, hear and read. So yeah, we've run a little bit over, but thank you so much for sticking with us. If we've got any judges on screen, I just wanted to say thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hi, Stuart. Thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, just blown away by the entries. Well done and congratulations. We'll see you next year. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.